Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 418, and today we're doing battle with the Poro King. And so I felt bad for the Poro King, I felt bad for the community that follows the FTP Bust channel. We have not put together a Heart of the Huntress video for the Poro King. We did it for Nidalee, we did it for Nico, we did it for a lot of the build-around cards, and then even more so for cards like Siren Song, but the Poro King was the champion that got left by the wayside, and I'd been meaning to circle back to him, but just hadn't quite gotten around to it. But as the Mastering Runeterra event came and went, the player Aatrox. Sorry if I butcher it. I'm not really good at saying words. But the Aatrox player did manage to top 4 the Mastering Runeterra event with the Poro King deck in his lineup, and so we have to give it a little bit of the spotlight now, even if you don't intend to play it. There's going to be a much higher event that you see this deck pop up on the ladder or see it pop up in the Riot Open event coming here in the next few days. And so before we talk more about the Poro King, I did want to give a brief mention to the Mastering Runeterra site. They have posted the top 8 deck lists from that 2K event on the website. You can easily find it on the front page. This is where we found the deck list from Aatrox in A1. But if you're looking to find all of the deck lists, you can find that over on their Discord. I'm not certain if they physically post them to the site, but if you go to the Discord, go into one of the tournament channels, there'll be a spreadsheet that has all of the players' deck lists in it, and then you can use that to search up your favorite player or whoever that you want to see the deck lists from there. But to get back to the Poro King, and so, this Bilgewater Siren Song stuff, we've tried to approach it from every different angle in this format, and it always just kind of felt like the Poro King was one of the worst options that you could be doing. You can go into Targon and find a bunch of silences, you can use Evelynn and play with the husks. There's just a lot of ways to take advantage of this one-cost cards matter, and it felt like the Poro King was always more on the meme side as opposed to being on the competitively legitimate side. But this deck does have a few things going for it that you don't quite get out of the Fizz decks or out of the Evelynn decks. And so, of course, all of these decks are playing Siren Song. That's going to be a given as far as these one-cost matters decks go. But the Poro's deck gets access to Poro Snax, and so Poro Snax is a very interesting treat, if you will, a very interesting snack to be including in these decks, as it's easily comparable to a card like Reaver's Row. Right, as we look at the Fizz decks playing Reaver's Row, it comes out, generates a unit as it goes along, and then gives them a big set of bonus stats at the end of the day. And so the Poro Snax, while it doesn't generate units, it does give our units the permanent bonus that the Reaver's Row wishes it gave, and then it can also be played as a combat trick. And so we'll find many spaces within these games to where we're able to play the Poro Snax in the middle of combat, maybe get an advantage in terms of surprise damage, getting a trade or a combat win where the opponent wasn't quite expecting it. And so the next big thing, especially with this Poro Snax in mind, is going to be the inclusion of the Poro King himself. The Poro King being able to generate these additional Poro Snax. If you want to think in terms of Siren Song being the most powerful card that you could have in this format, what if you had a card that could just generate a Siren Song every turn, right? That sounds like you're getting a pretty good deal on the investment if you get to generate that powerful card turn after turn after turn. And so while the Poro Snax is arguably not as strong as the Siren Song, that kind of general idea and concept is what we're going to be getting out of the Poro King. And so if we're looking at a deck like Fizz has 6 ways to give your one-cost cards a bonus. Now, as we come over to Poros has 9 ways to essentially give all of our units a bonus, and then one of those ways can just continually add and add and add on. And so the things that we'll see out of this Poro style deck is if the games are going to drag on, if we're going to have this kind of non-interactive units staring at units fest, we should be able to take advantage of that and just make our units bigger than the opponent's units are able to do, right? And so if you're wanting to imagine that we're playing the Fizz matchup, the opponent plays a Siren Song, we play a Siren Song, the units are just looking back and forth and trading at each other, probably not getting into too many combats. Then as we start to add in more Poro Snax and more Poro Snax, our unit should just be bigger than the opponent's, since they aren't able to kind of come in and interact with the board. And so that's the deck. That's what we're going to be doing battle with today. Let's go ahead, jump on in. See if we can't find a good game or two. You always got to use your if you come for the king, you best not misquote, right? I don't know if people are up with The Wire anymore. Like as The Wire was out in my youth, it was one of those shows that everybody just kind of talked about as being the greatest television program of all time. And now I don't know if people are watching the HBO Max and getting the full effect of the Wire, or if it's just too gone. You see, you see old God. What I was trying to think of Stringer Bell, who he's played these days. If he's going to be more recognizable from The Office, or more recognizable as is it Heimdall from Thor in the Marvel series that Stringer Bell did? I don't know, but they're out there talking about their pagers and stuff. I don't know if the youths get that anymore, and so. But The Wire was a fantastic television program. A lot of it still holds its weight. All right, though, coming into this turn, we're doing battle with Caitlyn Teemo. I'd like to get a little bit of something on board, but I don't want it to be like a high-quality Poro, and so we're just going to drop the Lonely Poro in here. Next turn, we'll have access to 5 mana, and then we can use that 5 mana to Siren Song and then play a little bit better of a Poro, probably the Sinister, and then we can try and start to pop off from there. Affectionate Poro comes in. I can't remember his name. The guy that spoke this, if come at the king, you best not miss. He died here fairly recently. I don't think he died of COVID. I think he may have died during the pandemic, though. Is a classic character, though. Some of you old fucks out there are gonna be getting sassy about it. But I guess that's just the way things kind of go, though, right? MASH was the greatest show of all time from the people in the 60s. I don't know what the 70s and 80s really enjoyed. They probably liked American Bandstand in the 70s, and then something stupid like Knight Rider in the 80s. And then as time goes on, the new hotness overtakes the old ones, and so I'm sure Breaking Bad has a place in a lot of people's hearts these days. And then Game of Thrones was probably having a dog in the fight there until the final couple of seasons. All right, I can't tell if opponents disconnected or not. We can still just sit here and talk about TV shows, I guess, right? That's all we really got going on at this point. Hey, he's back. He's back. All right, and so do we want to actually put these stats on our affectionate Poro? I'm kind of leaning towards the plucky Poro now, since we're going to need to get it into combat and do some blocking here. It's still got to be a relevant unit on these upcoming turns, but it should be able to slow down the attacks from these puff cap pups. But no, as I was on topic of the television shows, I did want to say I did just finish off the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon. I feel like I was a little late to that party. It was fine, you know. I didn't really love it. I didn't hate it. It felt like the Lord of the Rings stuff always moves so slow that it's just been like, I don't know, 8 hours of backstory, and you got to kind of wait on the next season to come in now that the characters have been developed to make it interesting and exciting. But it was weird to me in the sense that I read that it was like 12 or 14 episodes long or something. My understanding was that Amazon bought the rights to it, but it had to be a show that was at least like 12 episodes long. Something weird like that. And it was only 8. And so I don't know if it was like season 1A and the next part will be season 1B or what the deal is with it. But it's alright, I guess. Yeah. Lots of walking. Even the trees walk in that fucking movie. All right, we'll get back to the gameplay. I assure you, this dude's playing super slow, and so I kind of lose my patience a little bit as these games drag on. But as this happens, we should be able to really start popping off with the Poro King next turn. He doesn't count towards leveling himself up, but we have the fearsome Poro that we haven't played yet, and we have the Poro stories to also give us the randoms, and so we should be able to find some useful plays. Oh boy, love seeing the Sump Monument come in. Just one of the worst design cards ever made. I have huge problems with the existence of this card. It just, I don't think it's going to be so bad this game. I just think it's like right on the edge, right on the cusp of just being ridiculous. And the format to where Sump Monument is a good card is not a format that anyone wants to play. So, we'll see. We'll see. I don't like seeing that thing come down. We should be getting access to pretty good combats here, though. We got the Poro, Snax, all of our dudes about to get big. Opponent hasn't done a whole lot in terms of putting puff caps into our deck. I think we're going to be able to take this one over pretty quickly. Did have access to the Playful Trickster on this turn, but maybe with this round we should have not leveled up the Poro King, and then that would have given us the 1 point of mana. We still would have had the opportunity to play the Poro Snax, but having access to that Playful Trickster could have been big. But as this game kind of grinds on, we are going to have access to the Snax this turn from the Poro King, and then we'll get access to the Snax next turn and a rally. That might just turn out to be better. So we did hit a puff cap on this turn. Our Plunder Poro's coming down with the keywords. Nice work for you. Now what's this one? Grant Poro allies everywhere 1/1. And give them impact this round. So we'll just wait till next turn before we play the Snax. I'll go ahead and drop the Poro stories. So now as we come onto this next round, we can overwrite a unit and then play the double Snax so that everything gets impact when we attack. So we're of course not going to get the kill. We're going to have to fucking fade the Sump Monument next turn, see how that nonsense goes. But yeah, it is what it is. Somebody's proud of this card design. Alright, let's just do the biggest damage route. We're going to add in the Pouty Poro. We'll overwrite the dude without evasiveness. And then we'll also look to put the Sinister Poro over the Poro flag. I guess the Sinister is not going to be getting... evasion. All of his units can block it. I think I'll be okay. Alright, he's got to be blocking something, right? I really want to get the... I want to get the Playful Trickster this turn. Try and ensure that we can end the game next round. F. That was my major concern. He doesn't have to block, but you can't like put an attack forth and then Playful Trickster with it like that. I don't think you can, right? I think you have to wait until there's blockers. I haven't tried that. Alright, let's see how dumb this is. 3. Okay. So what do we got in here? We got... Can't click on the opposing deck. There we go. 250 and 24 cards. So it should be about 10 damage, but... I don't know. Let's just roll the dice. This is fun right here. 7. Got him. I don't know, man. It's just... it's one of those cards as to where the advantage we had in that game was overwhelming, but if we like just low rolled even slightly there, then we were dead. And so it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of cards that develop play patterns that I don't think are fun. Like, I don't want to just sit around and play control mirror matches. I understand why people like that. You're saying, it's like a chess match. I'm big braining this dude. Like, I completely get that line of thought. But I just can't envision the scenario where people go, oh man, I'm having fun with this Sump Monument. Like, it just doesn't strike me as existing. And now my concern with it is, if you look towards the modern format in Magic, there's been things like the Ensnaring Bridge deck, to where the design of the deck, there's a card called Ensnaring Bridge. It says units can't attack if they have more power than the number of cards in your hand. And so you basically get Ensnaring Bridge on the board, and then you look to just discard the entirety of your hand or play out the entirety of your hand as fast as you can. And then you play cards that let you manipulate the top of your opponent's deck. And so you don't let them get into a spot to where they're able to actually draw their removal spells for your landmark. And then you eventually just deck them after they're unable to attack for the entirety of the game. And I can just like very easily imagine these things to where you start playing things like Sump Monument and then what's it called, like Epiphany from Beyond, whatever that stupid thing is that replaces your whole deck with invokes. Like that deck, it doesn't sound good to me. That doesn't entirely sound like a winning strategy, but that gets you like really close to where Sump Monument is just obnoxious, as to where your opponent gets in some kind of big massive attack, they put 200 puff caps in your deck, and then you play some card that just puts a card on top of your deck, and so you don't actually have to draw from it. Or you play something like that Monument thing, or that Moonlight Epiphany thing that just replaces your deck and all of the puff caps are gone. Like, I don't think the obnoxious deck lives now, but it has a chance to live at some point, and that's just going to be incredibly unfun for the week or two that deck gets to exist. All right, though. Enough of that nonsense aside, back into the action with this one. I think we want to continue on with just dropping our Siren songs. So I'm going to go ahead and get in and attack. Like, if the opponent gets a really good unit, there's just nothing we can do about it, right? All that we can really do is attack the opponent here with stats. And so I'm thinking in this space, we want to absolutely play our second Siren song, and then over the course of the next 2 turns, we'll just get 6 Poros on the board. And so if opponent gets one really big unit, we shouldn't have to worry about it as much. And then if their big unit isn't that lifesteal guy, we should be in completely good shape, I think. Right? So see how this board is going to develop. Opponent's going to come in next turn and play like Evelynn. And so they'll have this one giant unit. It's going to have Challenger and Elusive and Fury. It's going to be big and scary, but we're just going to have 6 units on the board to the opponent's 1 unit, and then he can't stop all 6. He can only stop one of them, right? It's the idea of what we'll have going on here. The downside for this, for us at least, is we are going to end up losing out on our husks here. You know, it kind of is what it is.
See what's beneath while I see what.
So I'm just going to play our worst Poro on this board. Unfortunately for the Lonely, he's going to be the loser on the day. But we're kind of hoping by not playing the elusive Poro, like this is our best one in this spot, arguably, the opponent's just going to attack face and not try and hook our Lonely. Oh shit! Even on this board though, his Evelynn's not big enough to kill the Lonely. I didn't notice that was going to be a thing. Okay.
Harder. Okay.
Nice. So he just sends it to the face. That's what we were hoping for. So the thing we would like here is we do want to have Challenger on one of these Poros. I'd like to get this Divine Clerk out of the combat. I don't think we're going to be able to pull that off, but we'll see. I'm going to finish with Pull Shark here, see what we draw next turn. We'd like to have another Poro snack or something if possible.
Scream for me. Back on the prowl.
Playful Trickster. That should be close to doing it. So let's see. We got this to start. So we got the good hook onto the Divine Clerk. If he's got a Hush or something, that sucks, but at least he only gets to gain 2 health this way. Come in for 9. And then now if his play is Sunburst or something, we're going to be looking really good. I don't know about you, but I like looking good. It's one of my favorite things. So we're a little bit short of the lethal right now. Let's add in this other Pull Shark. This time we're going to be looking to hook the Divine Clerk out to the right, so that the lifesteal comes in at the end instead of the beginning.
Give us some room.
So how do we stand with this? We're only going to be dealing 9. Probably need to leave our Daring Poro back. Just to make sure that we have a blocker for next turn.
Shut up and scream.
It's tough. We missed out on a little bit of damage there, right? We had the opportunity to fill out to 6 units before we played the rally card. Or we could have done something to where we hooked Evelynn out of combat and then did the rally onto his lifesteal unit, but that's just like such a bad spot for us if we run into a removal spell or a Hush or a Targonian Tellstones or whatever. If he has some kind of interactivity there, we just completely lose the game. Now Zolani. Okay. GG. I mean, maybe we should have just gone for it. But I think in that spot, like, if they don't have the Zolani, we still just win the game. And so it's kind of tough. Kind of tough. I do expect incoming Zolani nerfs. I think it's going to cost about 9 mana coming around the balance patch. I think that's realistically the only thing you can do. The thing with Zolani is its level up condition just comes from ways that you naturally play the game. And so the issue at hand isn't having it be at empowered 16. The issue at hand is that it just coming down on turn 7 and saying, oops, I win the game. And so over the kind of history of time, we're gonna mulligan for our unit boosters, but over the course of time, Riot has seemed to have had kind of issues with cards that just say, "Oops, I went on turn 7." If you look at things like the Winding Light, that's about where it caught its nerf when the Lysandra Thralls decks were popping off on about turn 7. That's when they started to catch their nerf. I think Zolani is going to stay as is. It's probably going to be that +2/+2 when a upgraded unit dies, and then the powered 16, but it's going to cost like 9 mana. The play that I thought would have actually been interesting with it is, instead of having Zolani be just kind of a static ability that when you attack that it just happens instantly, is to make that a play ability or a circle ability, a skill ability. You know, Zolani's Zolani's Crazy Time, Zolani's Friend Party Transform Festival circle skill, and then that way you at least have a chance to react to it. And so your opponent still gets to play their big, splashy, expensive play, but when they attack, you can say Flash Freeze, and then if the Flash Freeze hits, then their entire team is going to be 0 attack. You can play Vengeances. You have that opportunity to react, to where when it's just a burst speed play, you don't get any of that stuff.
Now, where did that one run off to?
All right, into another battle with Evelynn, though. We have another double Siren Song draw. Reasonably happy to have that come about, but it's going to take us a few turns to get the Poros up and running.
Where'd they go off to?
But we're taking that same angle from the previous game. I'd need a little bit more experience with this to know if this is the way we really want to go about it. We've been playing this Poro Herder on turn 2. You can just bank into turn 3, play a Siren Song, then Proto Poro and have it get the Husk, and then the next turn play another Siren Song and then another Poro and have your Husks kind of spread out. I'm not certain if that's better or worse than the way we've been taking this, to where you double up the single Husk onto one unit. It's probably not that great of an idea against Targon, but not certain. Alright. Opponent doesn't have the song, at least yet. Go ahead and drop ours. You gotta bring in that Evelynn. It's a decent Evelynn ability, having the Overwhelm.
How about we live a little?
Steam comes in. We don't have to particularly care about Steam. He's not gonna have any more units for the turn, but it's probably a safe spot to just get this Pouty Poro down. It's just going to be such a good blocker for the round, being a 3/4 tough regenerate, and be able to. We're going to lose our Poro Herder to Steam, but then the rest of the attacks for opponent are going to be garbage. Oh, nice. Surprised he didn't get the takedown on the Herder. So now we got a big angle this turn, right? We got the Siren Song. We can follow up with a Poro, and then we'll have the mana to play Poro Snax as well. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Opponent says, no thank you, bust. No thank you, bust. Them units are too big. Alright, on to the next one. Alright, what you got for us, game? A little bit of Aatrox Vayne, sure thing. What do we got? Starting off with the Siren Song again. Feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. I think we want to just keep all of this. We're not going to have a big turn 3 with this, but I think it's going to be a good start. Alright, so we can drop in the Poro Herder this turn. Same deal. Gets a nice shutdown, or shutdown enough on this board, if you will. And then next turn we can play the Siren Song. I'm curious if an opponent tries to get clever without attacking here. I feel pretty good about this if we just take a 3-bank into the next turn. An opponent just tries to be clever. And so it sounds like a win if it comes together. Alright, so let's see how these Poros look. It's kind of an interesting spot given that we can play one Poro and a Poro Snack. And so if we're looking to add, say, the Affectionate Poro to the board, then we can Poro Snack it and get it some growth. But I think with this turn I'm looking to add the Pouty. We'll give him all of the stats from this thing. Now he's just going to be combat ready. And then we can add in the Affectionate Poro and just take the hook onto the Broadwing. I think we're looking to be in a decent spot here. Our attack into the Defector is still good, right? We both have tough, but we'll regenerate the damage back next turn. So I'm going to add in the other Pouty. Now with this, I'm going to hold on to the Poro Fly. Since we have this opportunity to double Poro Snacks next turn, making our units kind of 4/4s out of nowhere give us a chance to pick up some advantage. I'm not gonna get advantages in front of the Night Ranger Defector. I mean, I guess we can get up to 6. That's a pretty ballsy line to throw our Pouty in front of this thing. I don't know. I mean, that's not that crazy, right? I don't think it's that crazy. Like, if he has a catch, he can get out of this, right? But there's not a ton of ways for Vayne to try and stop this thing. And then if we get the tempo gain of the kill right here, game's just done. Game's over. So he does have the catch. That's a bit unfortunate, but I think it's probably definitely worth going for. And then we're still in the running here, right? We're about to Poro King. We'll have the Poro Fly to play on the same turn. It's going to put a Snax in our hand, and then we can look to do some shenanigans on the following turn. Okay. Fall to 4. Healthy enough against Vayne. Alright, the king is in. I mean, if we wanted to, we could even just look to hook down the Defector. I mean, maybe that's the way to go about it. I was looking at the safe hook onto the Steadfast Elkin, but it's not a particularly strong unit. Okay, let's attack before he gets to replay the Darkened Harp. So we have a bit of time. I'm curious, like, the thing with this attack next turn, the way he needs to do this is to open attack with everybody. And then after that, you can tumble one of these defectors. That's going to be your scout attack, and then you get to attack again with the defectors after that. I think we have to add the Poro King to the board, or the last Poro to the board. It's going to keep him from being able to open on us. So now if he tumbles, he completely loses out on an attack. And then if he tries to add in the harp before the attack, that's just super slow. Yeah, I mean, we're safe enough just to block this stuff all turn as well. We can play the Poro King's Council and get the two separate Poros. Look to send them in that way, but I don't know. This just has to be another very safe block, putting a 6 health tough in front of this thing. This deck just doesn't play a ton of combat tricks, and so I think I'm reasonably happy to take this block. Got another one, damn. All right. Still okay. He has the tumble, but the rest of his attacks kind of suck. Oh no, we're just dead, aren't we? Yeah, we're... No. He's messed this up. So we'll have to watch out for the tumble on this next turn, but everything is safe for now. I guess you could have a cataclysm to help ruin our day, but as it stands, I think we're okay. Sure. And a Poro snack. Closer we just to winning this right here. Like, it's kind of tough. Like, I don't think we have enough to just attack. We can kind of safely face down these defectors. I mean, it keeps saying as long as he doesn't have a removal spell, everything will be okay. And he's just had a removal spell every time, and so hopefully that's not going to be the case forever, but we'll see. These tumbles just do not look very good here. So do we want to send in the Poro King? Like, we're definitely going to be playing Poro Snax this turn, but then he's going to have to trade with the Harazi. I think that's okay. He's just got to give up so much this turn. Ooh, that's not the block, my friend. That's not the block.
Death it is.
All right, Poro squad. We're getting close. We're getting close. I think we might have turned a corner in this one. Might have to fade some Darken next turn. There's definitely some big shenanigans that can go down, but most of the scary stuff is over here. Give me all them snacks. Alright, block. How big is this pouty Poro? I was gonna say he's big enough to get in front of Striatu if he wants. Alright, Aatrox. You may have your big darken, but the darken are no match for the Poros. Get that out of here, bro. LOL. Feels good, man. Feels good. Given the old Poros +7/+7. Nothing wrong with that. Opponent says, where did things go wrong? I had the combat trick every time. Nice. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we might have had our first phone to the toilet for the day. Sitting there at work, playing on the toilet, trying to have a nice shit break. Playing a little Runeterra. You think everything's going good. You got all your Darkened Harp scout attacks coming through. And then the Poros say, fuck you, buddy. Just drop your phone right in the toilet. It's kind of a double whammy, right? You'll lose the game, and now you got poop phone you got to fish out. I don't know what the protocol is for poop phone. If you gotta just leave it, or if I guess it would kind of depend for me. Let's see how this works with the Playful Trickster. Does this count? We get the rally after this. Yeah, you can do that. Good to learn. I'm surprised I haven't tried to do this before. But no, like my phone, I don't know, it's old. I'm trying to think. It's probably pushing like 5 years old, and so I guess that's not like a good assessment in the sense of like the age of your phone, because if you're just gonna have to drop like $1,000 on a new phone anyways, it doesn't matter if your current shit phone is either 5 years old or if you got it last week. So that's tough. That's tough. Just don't be dropping your phone in the toilet, I guess. I've made it this far in life. I haven't done that yet, and so I know my wife has dropped her phone in the toilet. Some hogwash about keeping it in her back pocket and then it falling out of her pocket and landing in the toilet. I think she was probably playing Runeterra on the shitter and got bamboozled by the Poros or something. Dropped it right in there. Okay. Next battle. What we got here? A little Karma Sett. See what we can do. Siren Song's turning right up. Curious how much of this we want to keep. Like, we're definitely hanging on to the Siren Song, and I like having the Lonely Poro. It's a way to just generate a bunch of stats for the early game. Like, don't really want to be starting with Daring Poros, right? It's just going to die to Mystic Shot. So that's why I hung on to both the Herder and the Lonely. So I think that's safe. I'm just going to continue on with this path. I keep running into these games. Like, this is something I would never do with the Fizz deck. Like, with Fizz, you just don't run out your 1-drops like this. You save them so that they have removal protection when the Siren Song comes down. But like literally every game we've just run out the Poro Herder. But I mean, he has the stats you need to survive a Mystic Shot or a High Note, and so he's a fairly safe play there in the early game. Siren Song comes in. Curious if he's gonna... Oh, he doesn't have the removal for the Husk. That's good. Or if he did, he didn't play it. So I'm gonna load up the Challenger Husk with the stats. We can still look to add these other bros to the board this turn. I'm curious how invested opponent gets in this turn. Like if they just add a 3/4, we probably have to attack with everybody. But
Coin buys drink or news. I've got both.
Well, we'll find you some friends.
let's just get rid of our bad Poros, though.
What if I told you? Stay out of there.
And then a Pull Shark. And so the thing I'm going to look to do is I want to take a 3-bank next turn. I want to make sure that we can go into turn 6, play the Poro King, play a Poro, and then have the Poro Snax. And so next turn, We got to get that 3 mana collected so we can pull all of that off. I'm not nearly as excited about just rolling out the Poro King next turn and risking him with a bunch of removal. I guess it's kind of safe in this space. I mean, it does take us 1 action less before we're starting to get into the attacks next turn. Let me pick up the Snax. We can't just discard the Snax.
Something for your nerves, boss.
Nah, wouldn't want to miss a second of the action. Beat loser. I saw you looking at me.
So we'll have to take it just a little bit slower now. But I think with 2 Poro Kings in hand, we can probably still just attack with him, right? The opponent like blocks the Poro King with Sett and then has to Mystic Shot. Just buys us so much time.
Hey, Meg, whip up anything special for tonight?
I call it pit grit. It's got cherries.
Call it Pit Grit. That's what the smooth mixologist is mixing up? That sounds fucking disgusting. That sounds disgusting. I don't want to drink something with grit. That's nasty.
Something I said. Where's the doorman?
There's the Mystic Shot for the king, sure thing. Still looking good though. Man, dude's got a ton of mana built up if he wants. He's got a 5-stack on the coin. Can't flip Sett this turn, but he can still do some nasty stuff if he wants. I'll run out the Poro King. This is like one of these spots that's
tougher than me.
it's kind of questionable in the sense that there's a decent chance the opponent just passes this turn, right? So it's unfortunate that we're getting popped with the high note here. That's not too crazy to see happen, but this turn is a bit of a disaster if we end up just passing at this spot and then opponent sends it back. So
What could you ever teach me?
interesting. I don't see the disciple too often. But still looking strong on the swing back. We got a ton of just ways to flood out the board, and so we can attack with everybody here. We'll get some amount of kills, and then on the next turn we can refill again with the Aurora Borealis. So I think we'll be okay. Do we actually want to overwrite our Pouty Poro? Right, he's got 4 blockers at the moment. He can just let like the Pole Shark and the Poro Herder through. We won't get too crazy on the round.
Be a good warm-up. Your attack is obvious.
And double tag out.
And I ain't starting now.
So he'll pull Sett back. That's fine. He doesn't get the showstopper. That would be the big thing on this turn. So he's had to spend his coin as well. So this is one of these, pretty decent spots to where he's going to have a really tough time just comboing off. It's tough to have... Oh, we didn't even Poro snack there? Shit. I saw that stuff happen and I started getting... I don't think it would have mattered, right? We kind of killed everything and only dealt 2 damage with the Poro Herder, but...
I'm the boss.
If he's not
That's all there is
show-stopping,
to
we don't
it.
have nearly as much to worry about. Alright, well, he's got it. He built up enough. We can still refill our board, though.
This one's gonna hurt. I promise.
A game.
Go
So
on,
he'll get to
then.
take down
No
somebody,
LoR. You, me,
and we'll
in the
just
ring.
make sure we have 6 units on board. I think we're gonna be okay. Got augment on the Poro bot. I don't think it's gonna be relevant, but it could be. You know, we got 2 created cards in hand to give him a potential +4 attack on the next turn. Just a very easy block for Sett. All right, let's remember to play the Poro Snax this time if we need to.
You're gonna need a doctor.
Let's see. We just need 1 Poro to connect, right? And we have quite a few on board. I think we should be in decent shape here. This isn't the spot you want to be counting on Mystic Shot to get something done. Jeez, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of cards. We got the perfect counter to the Caustic Rifts, though, right? No, it just doesn't even matter. Oh, you gotta play all your dumb cards. I'm gonna play all my dumb cards. How's that feel? GG. Playing all these dumb cards. Caustic Rift. Ugh. All right. Not bad, not bad. Let's get in one more game here. We're at the 45-minute mark. We'll be pretty close to an hour after we get through this one. It's been weird, man. Like I used to be able to get in 8 games every time, and I don't know what the deal is with the I don't know what the deal is with the Heart of the Huntress, but we've only been really been able to get 5 or 6 games in each video. Alright, no reason to rush any of these units out. Up against scouts, there's nothing positive. I don't want to come in and just make trades with his early game units.
I've never met anyone like you.
Wu-Ting style. The wind howls.
Alright, so let's see how this goes. I'm going to start off with just the Sinister. I want to see what opponent starts to add to the board here, and the Sinister should be able to attack through just about everything. Can't attack through Misfortune, but I think he's still a safe option. Let's just stop at this point.
Trust me, they add up.
Need to get our challengers up to 3s. There we go. That was a good draw on the old Siren song. He'll be taking a bit of damage this turn. It's not that big of a deal.
Always forward.
Just gonna let this one happen. Gonna save the Poro Herder in case he can take down the Mirai Warden. Can add in the Pouty Poro here. He's gonna be strong with his regenerate. Might be enough to just shut down all of the attacks. You can't really want to attack into this guy. I mean, I guess the Island Navigator attack is still safe, but we're gonna be taking this Misfortune down next turn.
Oh, I missed you too.
Attempting to take this Misfortune down, I should say. This deck, some of the versions have moved away from even playing combat tricks, and they just look to play. They just look to play the Inspired Lights and the Champion Strength for the most part. So this guy still has the trick. It's okay. So he's probably gonna be flipping Misfortune on the next attack. I guess that's like one way we could have considered this, is it just to hook both of the scout units, and then if he doesn't have another scout, he can't get the Misfortune to flip. But I think this is also a very manageable Misfortune flip. So I'm not completely scared of this. It's like he's not, as the board stands, he's not able to lethal us. and so we have a lot of blockers we can just throw in front of this stuff if we need to. Okay, that was good for us. He was sitting there pausing on the 5 mana. The thing I was actually really worried about there was that if he had the champion strength, but he doesn't have the mana for it anymore.
I gotta show you the sights of Bilgewater. The sights are fine. The smells, on the other hand.
All right, let's get our other tough bro on board. There's an inspired light. Just the
Still
bird?
heart, steady aim.
Nope. Alright, well, we can still refill after this turn. He's gonna get 2 good challenges with the misfortune hook coming in, but I think it's safe. I think it's okay. Could have maybe added the tough Poro here. It's enough to survive a misfortune shot, but I think we just have to accept that this turn kind of sucks, and then next turn we'll blast. I'll take whatever trade we can get. If the opportunity arises, like we can still block with the Plucky Poro. If we can take any of these units off the board, I'll be happy to do it. I think that it's one of these spots to where we can refill, but opponent may not be able to. These hooks here aren't good. You should probably switch these around.
Time for violence. I've got this. Scouting ahead.
All right, the squad coming in.
No regrets, no mercy.
You've gone and spoke them.
Rips to the Poros. Sad day for our non-tough bros. But we got some units removed. Let's see what we can't do this next turn. Ugh. I forgot that Misfortune does 1 damage 3 times. She doesn't do 3 damage total. We should have played this other Plucky Poro and got a block in with it. Now that we're at 3, opponent just needs to not die here, and they can attack with Misfortune. Yeah, that was sloppy. We should have. I don't think we would have been able to win the game from that point. Like, that game was basically done when he had the combat trick for Misfortune. But just like being at 4 on the next turn instead of 3 would have been such a bigger deal. Or we could have just killed Misfortune, right? That we ended up blocking a unit like way down at the end, and we could have just blocked Misfortune, and that would have done what we needed as well. That was sloppy. The thing with the love tap is I forgot that it does, right, 1 damage 3 times and not 3 damage once, and so Tough just completely eats all of the Misfortune shots. But lesson learned, that's what we're here for. And so we can get this pulled up, talk about it a little bit more. And so it's, it's reasonable stuff. It's just this deck's in the space of where it doesn't have anything interactive in it. And so you're basically just saying, here's all of my stats. Can you do anything about it? And so that's typically something that you would see out of a deck like Elites. Elites is the deck people would get pissed about, because it's like, herder, I'm the best player in the world, and I had to play against someone playing Elites, and they just curved on me and won the game because their stats were too much, and my mystic shots and my stupid karma deck didn't do enough. And so that was the kind of point that you would see the complaints start to roll in. And so, like, if you looked at Elites, they had to nerf the elite dog, they had to nerf one other thing in the chain. Maybe it was just the dog, I don't quite remember. But the step that Elites has that decks like the Poro King deck doesn't is, with Elites, you can come in and play combat tricks. You can come in and play things like single combat. You can play all of the rallies. You have opportunities to be interactive if you're playing just Demacia. And then, as a lot of the ways that I recommended playing Elites, you added in another faction. Like, we played a ton of Elites with Shurima for Rite of Negations. as we were kind of in these formats a few months ago, to where you needed to be able to counterspell like a Feel the Rush or just a giant spell, and having 2 cards in your deck to potentially mess with allegiance were so much like worth it, in the sense of being able to have the counter spells for the big high power plays of the format. And so you have like some options and interactivity there in terms of elites, where this deck just doesn't get it. You just say, okay, here's all of my stats. I have some of these challengers. Maybe I'll hit another challenger off a generated thing, but it's like Poro, Snax, or bust as far as your interactivity is concerned, and I just don't really like that. And so to me, this is the kind of deck that's good like in the first couple days of the format. And so you're out here saying like, okay, well, your deck is kind of unrefined. Mine's fairly straightforward. I'm just putting as much stats on board as fast as I can. Let's party and rumble and see who comes down with more stats at the end of the day. And it does pretty well the first few days, and then it just like sharply falls off. And I think that that's probably the space that the Poro King should be in. The reason to me that this deck has the opportunity to be effective is it's strong against 2 things, right? So number one, if you go and look at how the Fizz decks operate, you don't really do anything until like the 3rd or the 4th turn of the game. And so this deck, while it doesn't do anything until the 3rd or the 4th turn of the game either, it has the opportunity to ramp up a lot harder. And so if you just sit around and say, okay, well, you play a Siren Song, I play a Siren Song, you play a Siren Song, I play a Siren Song, now you're adding units to the board. I'm adding units to the board as well, but I also have a Poro Snax. And so your units just get to be bigger and bigger along the way. And then you have the ways to generate more units to just trade off and kind of go from there. But you don't have the interactivity and you don't have the Zolanis. And so it has the spaces against decks like that to where if you're not going to actually threaten to kill each other, you just have the opportunity to ramp up way harder. And then if you're playing against decks like Karma Sett that are counting on things like Mystic Shot, High Note, Aftershock to be their removal spells, as soon as you get your units up to 3 health, then the High Notes and the Mystic Shot piece of that just don't kill anything. And so Aftershock being their only removal spell, spending 3 mana to kill a 1 mana unit isn't that good of a deal, and you're able to kind of overwhelm them from there. And so it does have like opportunities for this style of thing to be strong, but I think the other decks in the format just do this a lot better. And so, you know, if you're wanting to meme it up, go for it. If you're wanting to battle with the Poros, more power to you. It's certainly a powerful deck. I just think that there's decks that are doing this style of build up a little bit better and a little bit stronger. And so, good stuff, fun games, fun battles. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Busted. We thank you for being here.